right, let's take you through some of the dailies, and we'll start with Nigerian Tribune this morning. Now, this headline, you could almost wake up the dead. Look at that. It's coming from the Sultan. He categorically says here, Nigeria sitting on keg of gunpowder, ascribed to the Sultan. Not what anybody wants to hear, but it is what it is this morning here today. It says, Nigerians are agitated, hungry, angry. Take immediate measures against current hardship, Khan tells FG. Overhaul Nigeria security architecture, NBA tells Tinubu on Tribune.
And next we're looking at the Vanguard newspaper. Bandits now rape our women. Zamfara, Indigene, Laments, and that is one of the biggest stories there. Everyone talking about insecurity in the country and what can be done to make people feel a lot safer and make sure that we're able to carry out our activities and actually thrive in our country. But worrisome headline there from the Vanguard newspaper. Bandits now rape our women. Zamfara, Indigene, Laments, and that is from the front page of the Vanguard newspaper.
I'm with the Nigerian Observer this morning as my first pick, and look at that story. Troubling, isn't it? Or rather concerning, whichever way you look at it. FG must stop subsidy on electricity. That's according to the power minister. What does all of that mean? Well, the writer says state governments to be allowed to generate supply power. Well, that, of course, you know, is part of what the latest constitutional review has said, but how far will that achieve anything? I guess we'll see. That's the lead story of the Nigerian Observer today.
How about a look at the blueprint? FG on food security is the theme, and the lead story on that same front page reads, there you go, needy Nigerians to get 42,000 metric tons of grains. So if they ask you anything, just so we know, just say.
And looking at this headline from This Nigeria, 45-man committee to amend the 1999 Constitution. You would want to read more on that on page 4 of This Day newspaper this morning.
News on the front page of Business Day today. It's good news, I dare say. Exciting times for Nigerian cocoa exporters as prices soar. That's good news part one. What I'm looking forward to, guys, is when I will hear, okay, we're only exporting 30% of our cocoa and we're processing the rest of it, adding value here in Nigeria. Hey, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the lead story of the Business Day newspaper today.
Well, look at the Daily Times today. Sultan laments mass poverty, hunger in northern Nigeria. Just phrasing it differently, but as highlighted by some of the other dailies here today with Daily Times.
And from the Nigerian News Direct, food palliatives. Federal government to distribute 42,000 metric tons of grains to Nigerians, cultivate 120,000 hectares of land. More on that from page 2 of Nigerian News Direct.
New Telegraph is joining some other papers, I guess, this morning. Look at what you have on the front page. Over 60 reps sign to return Nigeria to a parliamentary system of government by 2031, says presidential wasteful retards development. That story is on page 2. Tall talk, wouldn't you say? That's the lead story of the New Telegraph today.
Interesting or what? Well, have a look at The Guardian. Forex crisis, pushes petrol subsidy to 907.5 billion naira monthly, The Guardian reports today.
And from Leadership newspaper, Northern leaders worried over state of the nation. More on that on page 4 of Leadership. Northern leaders worried over the state of the nation.
The Daily Independent newspaper today, and it's very interesting what you'll find. It's also, of course, concerned. Everyone is concerned about the insecurity issue. NBA writes Tinubu over insecurity, says Nigeria under siege. And look at the writer. Worried bloodshed now daily occurrence, sending fear to citizens. That story continues on the inside pages. That's the lead story of the Daily Independent today.
All right, so as we've, a number of things stick out. of course, to a lot of people today. The Guardian, what is not the big story, which is equally important, troops bust illegal weapons factory in Plateau. Now, we've said time and again on the program, when this crisis about whatever name anyone calls it, hammers, headers, whatever it is, when those outrageous killings go on in that fashion, not just in Plateau, but in different parts of the country, at different people, and the people don't see certain persons being arrested and prosecuted, when the people feel helpless, when they feel they've got their backs against the wall, they can only help themselves in whatever way they think. You know what they say about when he that is down needs fear no fall. And a very important point wherein security architecture in this country. Look, we have said as much and we'll keep saying as much, but the people also look to see what is being done. Now, this factory that is being busted here questions if we feel we can keep policing the country centrally and get a better result. If security agencies think they've done their best and the people don't see that they're getting justice, they feel certain people are getting away with murder, these kind of things will always come up. If they feel our political leadership is playing the ostrich time and again, these kind of things will happen. If we think that, yesterday we talked about the stats from survey where they said 6.5 million illegal weapons are in the country by that survey. It was no joke. Now, this is one that they may have busted. What about the ones that they still in operation and they've not seen? So we do know that we've got a challenge, and hunger, anger don't help anything. And that also tells us political leadership in this country, across board, they need to know that it's just time for them to do the right things. Data, the right data, and as we always say here, we can't politicize all of that. If we don't, it's either we get it right or not. If we want to be holding to what? Ethnicity, tribe, religion, we can only wish ourselves good luck. Because if we don't get it right, it might as well know the results.
It actually ties to one of the stories that stands out for me. In fact, we're seeing that story in a lot of the papers this morning. Nigeria sitting on a keg of gunpowder. It ties a lot to the security situation and the fact that a lot of people are dissatisfied with governance and standard of living and wanting to be able to get results immediately. And that's something that a lot of engagements are happening. I know the Sultan is worried, but northern leaders are worried, and so is the rest of the country. We are all worried about the state of the country. And, justice has to be seen to be done. You can't just say justice is being done, or you can't say we're just working on things. People need to see and feel it tangibly. If not, they may be correct. We just may be sitting on a keg of gunpowder, and that is not a safe place to be at all.
Well, my take this morning is similar because I'm actually spoiled for choice on the front pages this morning. But let me sit with the one on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. It's on the top right corner. It's at the top right corner of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, where I think it's one of the monarchs, the northern leaders, monarchs are telling the president, look, we can no longer pacify our subjects. Northern monarchs tell Tinubu all about the hardship in the land. They are addressing the president. How about the governors? How about the local government administrations? What are they doing? Or are they just seat warmers? Are they just there just to tick the box and say, okay, we are in office now, everything is just the way it is? I reference Chamberlain and Caleb, the comments of the governor of Niger State saying we're going to prioritize the welfare of our people. Maybe of the other governors are saying that, but unless those rhetorics are coming out as well, believe me, the people are still going to continue to point at the federal government. The federal government they're just like supervisors. The land upon which agriculture will be cultivated, where the land will be cultivated, poultry and everything will happen, they are in the states. What are the state governments doing? What are the state governments saying? How are they intervening in the affairs of their people? That's equally important here. It is good that the federal government is aware of its own responsibilities and keeps saying, we hear you and everything. Largely, I dare say that the federal government at that level will probably be dealing with macroeconomic issues. I would say that the microeconomic issues, micro, small, and medium enterprises and all, they are in the states. What are the governors doing to ensure that the needful is done to ameliorate the sufferings, the hardship that the people are feeling? Let's begin to hear you as well, dear governors of 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Back to you, Chamberlain.
All right, then. So there you go. That wraps it up. We'll look at some of the dailies here this morning. But just give us a moment. We will be back with some of these items on the front page. But don't forget, you can also get your voices up to here. So just send us an email. We'll be glad. Or tweet at us. We'll be glad to hear from you. We're back in just a moment. Stay on with us.